It's 4 p.m. I'll call this meeting of the Putnam County Planning Commission to order. I do have an announcement I need to read to you. We kind of scrambled paperwork a while ago. Thank you. This is a public hearing, and we are the Putnam County Planning Commission. We're the designated planning agency for the county as described under Title 11, Chapter 163 of the Florida statutes, and we function under the authority of Articles 11 and 12 of the Putnam County Land Development Code. The primary responsibility of this commission is to serve as an advisory body to hear and make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners on matters related to provisions of and proposed amendments to the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan and the Putnam County Land Development Code. The members of this committee will review each application and make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners at a regularly scheduled meeting February 27th, 2024. Procedurally, we will call each case by name and number. A member of staff will then briefly explain to us the nature of each request. We will take comments from the applicant or their representative, followed by any public comments concerning the request. Please direct all comments or statements to the commission and not to other people in the audience. Before speaking, we will ask each person to be recognized, come forward to the lectern, and identify his or herself by name and address. After all persons wishing to speak have been heard, we will entertain a motion from the commission. The motion will be voted on by the commission members and become our recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. The Board of County Commissioners will make the final determination for each application. Before we begin this process, it's the first meeting of the year, and we need to elect officers for the year of 2024. Mr. Perry, may I turn it over to you to handle the chair election?
Why, certainly, Madam Chair. Before we begin, is there anyone who is unwilling to serve as chair or vice chair? Okay.
Did you raise your hand?
I think we have, in that case, we have three candidates. Mr. Hancock. Well, we may end up doing that. And Ms. Fortner. And our current chairperson, Ms. Roberts. The floor is open for nominations for chair.
I nominate Susan Roberts.
Second.
All right, we have Ms. Roberts. Do I hear any other nominations? All right, do I have a motion to close nominations for chair?
I move nominations be closed.
Second.
All right. Our only candidate is Ms. Roberts. Can we have a show of hands just by acclamation? It's unanimous. Thank you. And Ms. Roberts, congratulations. You're our chair once again.
At that point, I will take nominations for the office of vice chairperson.
I nominate Chris Hancock.
Second.
Do I hear any other nominations for vice chair? Do I hear nominations to close? Do I hear a motion to close nominations?
I move nominations be closed.
Second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Nominations are closed. Chris Hancock, you've now been unanimous. Well, let's do a show of hands. All in favor of Chris Hancock? Chris? You're now vice chair.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
I get the same pay raise you do?
Yes, actually you do. It's better than you were here the last time you were on the board. Thank you. In that case, we'll now, thank you for indulging us in that little exercise. In that case, we will now entertain case REZ 23-000011, and Mr. Graves will be presenting today.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman. This is, as you said, Planning Commission case REZ 23-000011. My name is, for the record, I am Michael Graves, Planner 1, 104 Pheasant Road. The application is for a zoning map amendment from the agricultural to commercial neighborhood zoning districts. This is for the Blevins Family Trust and Kerbert K. Friddy Jr. At the intersection of Highway 207 and East Lewisboro Road in East Blacka, on parcel, that number there. Only a portion of it is being rezoned that totals to approximately 2.08 acres, and it has a future land use of commercial. Currently, as mentioned before, it is zoned agriculture. The purpose is to amend the zoning map for a Dollar General store to be built on location. The parcel is about 6.91 acres in total size and has approximately 391 feet of frontage on East Lewisboro Road. It is currently vacant, and the portion of the subject parcel to be rezoned is located on the southern end to be accessed through Lewisboro Road and not Highway 207. The parcel is located in a portion of the corridor where commercial development has occurred on lands and has maintained a commercial future land use classification. The surrounding zoning districts are commercial, residential, and agriculture, with future land uses of commercial and urban services. The majority of these lands are either vacant or used as farmlands. Here you can see the aerial of the location. Here is a more concise zoning map, and the future land use map, of course, where you can see the entire thing is commercial. The current zoning designation of agriculture does not allow for general retail stores. The rezoning to Commercial 1 neighborhood zoning designation would allow for general retail sales. The proposed rezoning is compatible with the surrounding uses and would be compatible with the future land use designation and zoning designations of the surrounding area. Staff finds that the proposed rezoning from agriculture to Commercial 1 is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the adopted comprehensive plan, is allowed in the adopted future land use categories, and is not anticipated to adversely affect the orderly development of the adjacent and surrounding properties, as the property is subject to development standards of the Land Development Code and meets the locational requirements of the C1 zoning district provided in the LDC and the comprehensive plan. Staff recommends approval for the request to amend the zoning map from agriculture to Commercial 1.
Are there any questions of staff from the board?
I have one question.
Thank you.
See, I even turned it on. I heard you say something about 2.08 acres.
Correct. They're only wanting to rezone a portion of the parcel, as they only need a portion of it to develop the Dollar General store they wish to develop. The applicant is attempting not to do any form of speculative zoning for the remainder of the parcel.
And they're doing a lot split.
At this time, it seems that they are wishing to keep the parcel together. I will defer you to the applicant for that, mind you.
Okay.
Though it seems that as far as staff is concerned, it is remaining one parcel for the time being.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions of staff? Is the applicant present or the applicant's agent? Please come forward and give us your name and address. Okay.
Hello, Holly Irish with Vector Civil Engineering, address 1449 Southwest 74th Drive, Suite 200, Gainesville, Florida 32607. And I can start with clarification of the question regarding the lot split. Through our due diligence process and coordination with staff early on, we had determined that this property was not eligible for a lot split, that it would have to be an actual plat. And the owner of the parent parcel now, and who will own the residual property, they do wish to have this portion split off, so there will be a platting process that completes that.
Okay, that will come later.
Yes, ma'am. It should be in the works right now in the application process. I know the site development plans and the engineering plans have started at this point in time.
Okay. Thank you. Tell us what else you need to tell us.
Just in general, we did a lot of research with this and working with staff on the proposed layout and ensuring that it was up to county standards and meeting the development code from a conceptual layout purpose. As far as Lewisboro Road, we met with Public Works and, just determined the best route for the actual path for the store and the access for that. It is a brick road currently, and there were no historical standards or anything for that, but we will be repaving and improving that road. It'll be surface up to the commercial zoning lot line there. There are utilities in the area available. There's a water line that's existing on Lewisboro that we would connect to. The sewer, it is in the works right now. It's not constructed and ready at this point in time, but we've been in coordination. There will be a force main that's across the other side of Highway 207. So we'll have DOT permitting to cross, to connect to that force main, and we'll have a lift station on site.
Okay.
Other than that, any questions that you have, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions of Ms. Irish? Go ahead. You can.
You're going to start at the side road, which is Lewisboro Road,
Yes, sir.
and you're going from the highway all the way to the back of the property, up 2.08 acres.
Yes, sir. That's correct. And we are providing cross-access to the remaining property, since it is a commercial future land use. If that were redeveloped and rezoned into commercial in the future, there would be access through this property to access that.
Okay. Any other questions of Ms. Irish? Hearing none, thank you very much for your presentation. You will remain in case there are questions that come up later.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
At this time, we will entertain people who would like to speak for or against this particular zoning application. Couldn't get that out. And I have a card for Amanda Winters. Please come forward and give us your name and address.
Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Winters, and my address is 171 Powerline Road in East Palaca. I'm the person who gave you the letter, so I feel silly reading it to you because I saw you guys all reading it. So as a school teacher, I would hate to have to do that again, make you read that. So I just want to bring some salient points out that are in the letter. Number one, I heard that when this gentleman spoke, there would be no disruption, and I would highly disagree with that there would be no disruption upon this development. Our property at 171 Powerline directly abuts the property that they are proposing for the dollar store. And I want to make it very clear, I'm not talking about not rezoning, because it makes perfect sense to have 207 rezone commercial. All for that. And I think anybody with a brain would realize that's the best place for commercial. But the way that they have the building situated and the way that they're using East Lewisboro Road is hazardous, unattractive, and just sends a totally wrong message to what you're trying to do in Putnam County, which we're trying to show that we're progressive and growing, and we want a business that will support that. The other thing is within Putnam County, where I am, in Palaca Central, okay, I'm at East Lewisboro, I can get to any dollar chain store in 5 minutes. There are 7 of them within a 5-mile radius. Do we really need another one? And that's the question I bring before you. And I know you cannot answer this right now, and I understand that the zoning is probably going to go through, and I get that. What I'm asking you to think about is how is this going to be beneficial to the people surrounding that area when they have 3 stores that we can either ride our bike to in 10 minutes or get in our car and drive 5 minutes. We're sending the wrong message to people who are coming through our county that we're just being filled with dollar stores because we can't afford anything more. That's not the message that I want to send to people who come through my county. I'm open to any questions or suggestions.
Thank you, ma'am. Unfortunately, when zoning comes before us, we don't rezone on the basis of how the land's going to be used.
Right.
We zone basically on the principles of how it fits within the comprehensive plan and the land development code. So we don't look at what's going to go there.
Right.
That can't be our zoning can't be contingent upon what's going to go there and whether we like it or not. So that's,
Right, I
That's a
know this
reality
is
we have
further
to
down, this step further down, but I just wanted to give the heads up that this is
Absolutely.
coming, and a petition has been started and is circulating throughout Putnam County to find out different ways to have these dollar chain stores interact with our community. What do we want to present to the outside? That we're just all dollar chain stores, or do we want other types of businesses to line that? Okay,
thank you.
thanks for your time.
Appreciate it. We appreciate your time, too. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak either for or against this case? Please come forward and give us your name and address. And if you would, after you speak, fill out a blue card. Come on forward. They're right over there on the petition there, partition.
Hi, I'm Melissa Keir. I actually reside at 200 State Road 207, and my property directly abuts the subject property. So this is my first time here at one of these things. I understand the land rezoning and what you just said about the use of it. My concern is actually about the access on East Louisboro Road, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. We've lived in the home, the red brick home, many of you probably know, for about 1.5 years, and we have seen numerous car accidents in front of the 207 diner, one directly in front of my home, about a 4-car pileup on a bright sunny day, and a garbage truck picking up our trash was rear-ended in a very, very serious accident at about 5:45 in the morning. So my concern is actually about the access to the property and how it's being used. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak either for or against this particular application? Hearing none, I will bring it back to the board for discussion and a motion.
I do have a question of staff. So the access point off Lewis Brower Road, that's something that the land development review still, or the DRC still has to review?
Correct. Actually, I'm the one in charge of this DRC to be more specific, and it is something that we do bring up in the DRC comments. However, it is not a major point because according to the Public Works and the traffic study, well, the traffic data that we have on record, it shouldn't create too much additional traffic that would degrade the road further than what it currently is. It would still be considered the same state as it is right now.
So there won't be a decel lane or an accel lane, a decel lane on 207?
As far as we're aware, the only thing that is needing to be done is, as they have already volunteered to do, pave the road up to the end of the property line, changing it from brick to pavement.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Would you like to address that further, Ms. Irish?
And yes, and just to elaborate also, we, in general access, you try to be as far away from the intersection as possible from a safety perspective. So accessing from 207 would be less safe in this scenario where we only have 207 feet of property or something along that stretch of the highway. So Lewis Brower Access Road is the safest point just to get further away from that intersection before slowing down to turn into the store. And then as far as improvements and decel lanes and that kind of thing, we did meet with DOT, and even though we are away from their intersection and not accessing their road, they still have a say, and they would make us put in turn lanes if they had required it for that. But they did not have any particular concerns at that location.
So your site plan and ingress egress has been approved by DOT?
Just from our initial conceptual coordination that we had with them.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. Any
And
other
then-
questions, Ms. Irish? I need to ask the board, does anyone have a conflict of interest with this site? Does anyone have any ex parte communication that they need to reveal? Okay, thank you. Then we can move forward for a motion.
I move that we recommend that the board recommend REZ 23-000011, as it is consistent with the goals and objectives and principles of the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you. Have a proper motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Furlick is seconded. Any further discussion by the board? Hearing none, then I will call for the question. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have one nay, and the rest, and the chair votes aye. So we're not quite unanimous, but we have, what is it, 7 to 1? So thank you very much. We appreciate everybody's coming forward. You're exercising your civic duties, and this is important to us. And your civil rights and your civic rights, and you're doing that means a lot to those of us who sit up here, because sometimes we look into an empty audience. So thank you very much for coming out and talking. We will move on to the next case, which is REZ 23-000012. And Michael, you have this one as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Once again, for the record, my name is Michael Graves, Planner 1, and this is REZ 00000012. This is a zoning map amendment, again from agriculture, but this time to commercial retail, C2. The applicant is Mark and Linda Spalding Family Trust, Mark G. Spalding in particular. The location is at 117 Reed Bell Street and 645 Old San Mateo Road in San Mateo. It consists of 2 parcels. The properties being rezoned have a total acreage of approximately 9.02 acres with a future land use of urban service. Once again, they are currently zoned agriculture. And this is again to build a Dollar General store. The parcel 391027 string 02200010 is approximately 4.6 acres and has approximately 285 feet of frontage on Highway 17 and is currently vacant. The other parcel 3910270002200000 is 4.42 acres, give or take, and has approximately 285 feet of frontage, also on Highway 17, and currently contains several small dilapidated concrete structures. The supplied site plan shows the development of the parcel on the south end, currently entirely on parcel 3910270002200000. The parcel is located in a portion of the corridor where commercial development has occurred on lands that have maintained an urban service future land use classification, and the surrounding zoning designations are commercial, residential, planned unit development, and agriculture. The surrounding future land uses are urban service and agriculture. Approximately a third of these lands appear vacant, while the rest are used for light residential or religious purposes. Here you can see an aerial view of the parcels and take note of its distinctive shape. A much more clear version is seen here on the zoning map. Here on the future land use map, you can, of course, see the entire thing in urban service. And that brings us to the proposed rezoning. The current zoning designation of agriculture does not allow for general retail sales. Rezoning to commercial retail zoning designation would allow for general retail sales. The proposed rezoning is compatible with the surrounding uses and would be compatible with the future land use designation and zoning designations within the surrounding area. Staff finds that the proposed rezoning from agriculture to commercial 2 is consistent with the goals and objectives and policies of the adopted comprehensive plan, is allowed by the adopted future land use categories, and is not anticipated to adversely affect the orderly development of the adjacent and surrounding properties on the property, as the property is subject to the development standards of the LDC and meets the locational requirements of the C2 zoning district provided in the LDC and comprehensive plan. Staff recommends approval of the request to amend the zoning map from agriculture to C2.
Thank you, Michael. Do we have any questions of staff? Okay, hearing none. Is the applicant, would you like to come forward and talk about this site?
Hello, Holly Irish, Vector Civil Engineering, 1449 Southwest 74th Drive, Suite 200, Gainesville, Florida 32607. So for this property, the proposed rezoning is to C2. That's for two reasons. There's other C2 zoning in the area, and a portion of the northern parcel is zoned C2 as well. So the thought is just to fill in the gap between the proposed store and the remaining property. There are public utilities available. Water is available on Old San Mateo Road, and then there's a force main available along the state road, so we will connect to that force main and put a lift station on the property. We have met with DOT as well. There's an existing right turn lane, basically right at where the proposed driveway would be for this store. So we will be extending that right turn lane further south of the store so that the store would use that. And then FDOT has also requested modifications to the state road right-of-way to make that safer, so it would not be a full access left out. So we'd be making median modifications and putting a left turn lane in onto that road to improve safety for access there. Other than that, again, we've taken the land development regulations into account on the conceptual plan, and the plans will comply with all of the buffering and setback requirements that are in the land development regulations.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Irish? Okay, hearing none, thank you. Yep. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're entering off of the state road.
Is there an entrance in the back on Old San Mateo?
There is not one proposed, no, sir.
Is this going to be like the other one and be available for more commercial spaces?
There could be in the future, yes, sir. There's nothing planned or anything, but there could be. Yes.
So this is going to have access off of US 17 onto the secondary street.
There is no proposed connection between US 17 and the secondary street, so all the traffic would be on 207. So
No,
that's
17.
Oh, sorry, 17.
It's all
Thank
right.
you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if I may, too, the Putnam County actually owns a very thin sliver of land that runs along the east side of the subject properties between the lands being rezoned and Old San Mateo Road. So there's no frontage on Old San Mateo Road for the majority of it. I do believe there's maybe 100 foot of frontage on the northeast corner, but that's about it. So.
Okay. All right. All righty. So you're going to build basically facing US 17.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. All righty. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do I have anyone in the audience who would like to speak either for or against this particular application? Don't be shy. Okay. Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board for discussion and motion. Oh, thank you, ma'am. Does anyone on the board have had any conflicts of interest?
I do work with Mr. Spalding, but that is not going to change my opinion. Certainly not in his favor.
Okay. Any ex parte communication by anyone sitting on this board? I'm not going to ask. Hearing that, now I'll entertain a motion and let's do some discussion.
Madam Chair, I move we recommend that the Board of County Commissioners approve rezoning REZ 23-40012 is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Froelich, you're the good seconder today.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, let me go back to what Ms. Fortner said. Ms. Fortner, do you actually work for Mr. Spalding?
No. We work together in the same company, but I don't work for him.
Okay. So that relationship won't have any bearing on what your decision is here today? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Okay, no more discussion. And I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, so we're unanimous on that. That has passed. We will recommend that to the Board of County Commissioners, and that will go before them on February 27th. Is there any old business to come before the board? You can stay. We're only going to be here a few more minutes. Thank you. Again, we appreciate your coming out and being here. Is there any new business that needs to come before the board? Zach, you want to tell us what's happening next month? You're live.
Suspenseful, right?
Are we going to fill the audience?
No. So the application deadline for the February Planning Commission meeting is January 1, which is, of course, passed. We did not receive any applications. However, the application deadline for the March meeting has not surpassed yet. It is February 5th. We have been in discussion with an applicant who was recently on the agenda but withdrew their application. We do believe that they will be coming back for that March meeting. So we do anticipate to see at least one rezone in March.
Okay. Is there anything on the Land Development Code update that could be done in February, or?
No, ma'am. We are still waiting to receive drafts from the company that is working on that for us.
Okay. Just a question. Thought we could use that time wisely. All righty. We have the minutes of the December meeting before us. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of December 13th?
I'll move we approve the minutes from December 13th.
I have a motion from Ms. Fortner. Do I have a second? And Mr. DeSantis has seconded it. Any discussion on that? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. In that case, it is 4:32. This meeting is adjourned.